Buenas noches. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe tonight we can have a good video. Um, Tonight we're going to talk about first-time home buyers. So how can you buy a house? This is going to be a different video. Okay, I'm going to tell you if you're a first-time home buyer, how can you buy a house? Before you go out there and you start shopping around for $500,000-600,000 homes and wasting your money, because that's what's gonna happen if you try to go out there and you try to go out there trying to buy a house and you don't know how much you can qualify for. You're going to lose your money. So this is what you have to do before you go out and buy a house. Number one, get pre-qualified by a lender. What do I mean by getting pre-qualified? Fill out the application. They're going to run your credit. They're going to see how much you make, how much you spend, and your credit score. Those are key factors when you buy a house. You might not know that you can buy a house, or you might think that you can buy more. I have seen this stuff on and on and on and on, where people think that they don't qualify for a house and they actually can buy a house. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was going to be able to buy a house. Yeah, well, that happens. And people thinking that, no, I can buy $1 million home. And then they go there, put $10,000-20,000 on this money, and they don't qualify for not even $20,000 home. So you know that doesn't exist, $20,000 homes. So the first step you need to take is get pre-qualified with a lender. And don't go for a big bank. Get a lender. Somebody that specializes in getting people approved to buy a house. Because there's big banks out there like, oh yeah, we are billions and billions of dollars banks. They're going to give you whatever. You can even tell them, I want a pre-approved letter for $1 million home, and they're going to give it to you, but by the time you need to close, you're going to be on your own. So get one of those lenders recommended to you by real estate agent, or use the builder's lender. You need to have at least 620 credit score. Okay, it's not that you're going to go out there and buy a house with 480 credit score, 520, 580, and oh shit, I make $200,000 a year, but my credit score is only it's only like 480. It doesn't work that way. Get pre-qualified. The lenders are going to tell you how much you make to be able to afford a house. It's not that you're going to just go around telling people, okay, I make $60,000 a year. My husband makes another $60,000, so we want $500,000 home. It doesn't work like that. The bank has to see exactly how much you make. And how do they determine how you make the money? They're going to run your credit. They're going to check your W-2 forms, last 4 pay stuff, uh, tax returns, savings account, and depending on how much money you have in your savings account and how much you spend, they're going to be like, okay, this person actually qualifies for XYZ amount of money. But it's not that you're going to go to the bank telling them how much you want, or you're not going to tell the banks how much you think you can afford. Because I mean, when I came to USA, I'm going to tell you my story. I thought I was going to buy a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. I knew that crap when I came over here was only like $80,000. That was a long time ago. And now I thought that, yeah, they're going to let me get that car because this is America. Well, it doesn't work that way. You have a specific time when you have to pay that loan. And you must have a specific credit score. And you don't want to be house broke. You want to know exactly how much you can afford because, I mean, I want $2 million home. In my head, I can afford it. But to be honest with you, I hardly can pay my bills. But if somebody gives me a $2 million home to pay in 2,000 years, yes, I'm going to be able to do it. But it doesn't work that way. We have to go by the rules. So talk to a lender to see your credit score. They have to check how much money you make, how much money you spend, and they're going to tell you, okay, you can buy a house for XYZ price. And then after that, if you feel comfortable with that amount of money you're going to pay a month, then go ahead. Get the house you feel comfortable with. But it doesn't work like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to find a house and I'm going to tell them how much I'm going to pay. It doesn't work that way. Be an educated buyer. Don't waste your time. Ask questions. You're going to go out there and you're going to tell the people, I have already been pre-approved for $425. What can I get for $425? Every case is different. You can go to used home or a brand new home, which is a builder, and all the numbers are going to be different. And that's why you have to talk to a real estate agent. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm in real estate, yes. And that's why I'm giving you this advice, because I don't want you to make the mistakes I made. Get pre-qualified by a lender. Everybody nowadays knows 1, 2, or 3, or 5 different real estates. So talk to your real estate friend. Tell your real estate friend your plan, that you're trying to buy a house. And that person is going to guide you. Okay, the first step is get pre-qualified. You want to know how much you can afford. You don't want to go out there trying to buy a $5-6 million home when you can only qualify for $1 million home. And I'm not saying that's your case. Every case is different. You have to be ahead of the game. You have to be ahead of the game. So to be ahead of the game, what is it that you have to do? You have to save money. I have seen a lot of people trying to buy a home asking for zero down payment. And how much do you have in your savings account? Oh, I have like $40. That is unrealistic expectations. Those expectations are really below low. You need to have money saved. You need to have money saved because the bank wants to know that you're going to be able to at least make the at least 2 payments on the house. And you come to a house, you come to the bank asking for $400,000 loan, and you show your bank statements, and your bank statements are showing overdraft, overdraft, overdraft. Come on. Come on. Come on, people. It's America. Yes, I understand. But not everything works that way. You have to work and you have to put an effort for what you want. There's a lot of variables working into buying a house. Like, for example, how much money I make, how much money I spend, what's my credit score. And there's a lot of people buying too much homes. For example, when I bought my first house, I was pre-qualified for $350,000 home, and I knew that was too much. So I ended up buying a $250,000 home because I knew that was what I was able to afford. But there's people like, oh yeah, you are qualified for 300. Oh yeah, give me 310. Because if 300 is my max, I can go a little bit higher. Stick in your budget because you don't want to be house broke. You want to be able to go out and have fun, pay your car. If something happens to your car, you don't want to be one flat tire away to file bankruptcy. One flat tire away to be bankrupt. You don't want to be in that situation. Whenever you're a first-time home buyer, these are the documents you need to gather. W-2s for the last 2 years, check stubs for the last 2 months, tax documents for the last 2 years, not just the W-2s, not just your W-2s and your tax returns, and you need all the documents. You need to show everything to the bank. And you might be like, why do I need to show everything to the bank? Well, I don't know if you already know, but everybody is checking on every single stuff you do in America. So they're going to ask for IDs, social securities. If you're not a citizen, they're going to ask for your green card. They're going to ask for every single document. They're going to run your credit because they're going to see how much you owe, how much you make, and they're going to qualify you depending on that. And it will not depend on the whole debt. It's going to be a huge thing involved because you can make $5,000 a month but you don't have any debts, and you're going to be able to qualify for a house. But if you and this is just an example, if you make $10,000 a month and you spend a lot of money, let's say six, seven, $8,000 a month, the bank is going to come back and say like you qualify for nothing. That's the reason why the banks are going to check how much money you make. So you have to be prepared for all these things. And the good thing about this video is because I'm telling you how to prepare. The way you have to prepare is like lower all your debts. Lower all your debts to the minimum. Save as much money as you can. There are a lot of programs where you can buy a house with zero down payment. But I'm gonna tell you, they have a lot of requirements, and you don't want that. Because at the end, nothing in America is free. You have to pay for everything. So they're going to tell you, oh, you have zero down payment. Just apply here. Yeah, it sounds good, but at the end you pay more. Remember, the banks, they don't lose. So the best thing to do is check your credit score with a lender. If your credit score is low, find ways to increase it. There are a lot of lenders that can help you with advice on how to increase your credit score. Okay? They're going to tell you based on your credit how to work it out. Based on your credit, how to work it out. Because it works on a lot of stuff. Like, you might have a good credit, but if you have a lot of debt, you might be able to qualify for a little bit of money. Or you might have bad credit, but you have a lot of debt. And the lenders are going to tell you how to fix it up so you can qualify for a house and how to lower your debt. If you run into an issue where you don't have a good credit score, they're going to tell you, you have to pay this, you have to lower that, blah, blah, blah. They're going to tell you. Or if you have the issue that I don't make enough money, they're going to run your credit and they're going to tell you, yes, you don't make enough money, or you do make enough money, but the problem is that your credit score is low. They're going to tell you how to increase your credit score. For example, when I came over here 24 years ago, I didn't have a credit score. So I got me Capital One credit card, and I paid it. My first credit card was $300. I used to spend only $100 a month, and then my bill came out, I paid it off. Next month, same stuff, $100. And I was like, spend no more than 30% of your credit limit, and you're going to be able to increase your credit score. All these things I'm telling you right now, it's because I have seen a lot of first-time home buyers coming out trying to buy a house, and it's like they're in the age range of 25 to 37, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was in that situation before, and nobody told me how to buy a house or how to fix my credit or how to do anything. I have been in real estate for a long time, and I didn't even think I was going to be able to buy a house. My wife was like, we should buy a house, and I was like, okay. I didn't think we were going to be able to buy a house. I didn't know. And like I'm telling you guys, I've been in real estate for a long time. And I was surprised when I was told, yeah, you have for XYZ amount of money. Sometimes you don't know if you can afford a house. Sometimes you might not be able to afford a house, but with the right advice, you are going to be able to get into that path. Nothing is impossible. You can buy a house. If I bought a house, and I'm going to tell you, my English is not very good looking. I barely started speaking English like 6-7 years ago. Yeah, and you can tell my English is not very good looking because it's like, whenever I listen to my videos, it's like, yeah, I hardly understand that dude. But that's what you have to do. I'm telling you this because what you have to think is not buying a house just because you want to buy a house, or because you have to put a roof, or because of the rent is going up. Yeah, rent is going up. Rent always goes up. But think about it this way. This is an investment. You are buying a house, and you're a first-time home buyer. Don't try to buy a big house. Buy something you can afford. I know a lot of first-time home buyers are trying to buy a house that's like 4,000 square foot, and then fireplace, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, swimming pool. Forget about that. Forget it. Think about it, it's the first home. The first home works this way. I'm going to buy my small house. I'm going to be there. I'm going to outgrow this house. And then after I outgrow this house, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy another house because I'm making more money, because that's the trend. You're going to make more money. I'm going to buy another house, a bigger house, and I'm going to keep this house as an investment, or I'm going to sell this house and take all the money I have invested in this house to put as a down payment for the other house. And you're going to have a similar monthly payment as the first house. That's why it's a first-time home buyer. Listen to this. First-time home buyer doesn't say the first and one and only time a buyer is going to have a house. No. First-time home buyer If you think about those words, that is telling you that this is not the only house you're going to buy. This is you being the first time buying a house. You're going to buy at least 3 houses in America in your lifetime. First house, 1,500 square foot home. You outgrow the house. You have been there 5, 6, 7 years, and then you're going to sell that house because it's too little. You make more money. You have more family members. And then you're going to sell this house and you're going to buy the 4,000 square foot home because it's what your family needs. And then you're going to be there like 10, 12 years because your little kids are enjoying the house, and then your kids go to college, then they come back, and then they leave, and then it's only you and your wife in the house. And then you have to sell it because it's too much house, and now you have to sell that big house to buy a small house. And that small house is going to be paid off because all the money that you made on the big house, and you buy 1-story, 2,000 square foot home, here, there, I don't know where you're going to buy it, but that's the way it works. You're a first-time home buyer, don't try to buy the big, huge house, the first house you buy, because it's not gonna work good. It's not gonna work that way. You have to, I'm advising you, start, there's a saying in Spanish, buy the your covers to wherever they can fit. Don't spend more than that. Be honest with you. Be honest with yourself. Be a first-time home buyer. Don't try to go to a place like acting like, yeah, I just left this 1,200 square foot home and I'm going to buy 5,000 square foot. No. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose money. I'm telling you this advice because I want you to save money. The first thing you need to do is talk to a lender, talk to a realtor. A realtor know exactly what's going on. You should know at least 3 realtors, and out of those 3 realtors, you should have one that's your person to go to. So it's not just going out there and trying to buy a house. This is an advice. I don't give a fuck what you want to do, because it's not my money. But I have seen a lot of people losing money because they act like they know it all. If you're a first-time home buyer, I am advising you to ask questions. I am advising you to ask a lender, how much can I afford? Can I buy a house right now if you are trying to buy a house right now? If I cannot buy a house right now, what can I do to buy a house, and what are the steps, and what is it that I need to do, and what's my time frame to buy a house. Because realtors, they don't know about the loan process. Only lenders. Lenders are going to tell you how much you can qualify for. Lenders are going to be able to pull your credit. Lenders are going to be able to do a lot of stuff. They are the key on buying a house. Realtors, the only thing that realtors can do is they can direct you to a lender. Realtors can only direct you to a house. They are going to like, okay, you qualify for $400,000. Yay! Okay, what do you want in the house? And then they are going to be able to like take you to a house. But the key, and I'm not a lender. I have to disclose that. I'm not a lender, I'm not a realtor. I've been in real estate for like, since I was born, because my family has been in international real estate. And I'm telling you all this stuff because I have seen a lot of people wandering around trying to find guidance. But what you have to do is, like I said, you want to know how much you can afford. The first person you need to ask that question is yourself. You can make $20,000 a month, but if you can only afford a monthly payment of $2,000, that's on you. The first step is talk to a lender. Talk to a lender and see how much you can qualify for. If you feel comfortable with that figure, talk to a real estate. And have your real estate and your loan officer get in contact so they know each other and they know what's going on. Because buying a house is not a joke. You don't want to buy a house today and have a foreclosure in 6 months. You want to have a real estate property and being able to keep that as part of your property. First-time home buyers, they have a lot of programs. If you have more questions about the programs, ask me in the comment section. I'm going to be glad to make a video. And I'm trying to be relaxed about the whole stuff. It's a kind of like a delicate situation. Real estate has been a hot topic for the last 2 years. It's not easy. It's not easy. You want to know if you can qualify for a house? There are lenders. I can recommend you a few ones. But the first thing you need to do is think positive, because you are going to attract what you think. If you think you can buy a house, you're going to be like me. I spent 16 years, 16 years until my wife told me, let's buy a house. And I was like, ah. So, if you want to buy a house, try to buy a house. Get pre-qualified. If you cannot buy a house right now, they're going to tell you when you're going to be able to buy a house. The first step you need to know is like how my credit is, how much money I make, and can I buy a house right now? And they're going to tell you yay, nay. And if you cannot buy a house right now, they're going to tell you if you can buy a house in 6 months, a year. But that's a beginning. That is a beginning, because you don't want to wait 2 years to see if you can buy a house, because I think that I can buy a house in 2 years, and then 2 years comes along, and then yeah, you cannot buy a house. You're going to buy a house in 2 or 3 years. So you want to know exactly right now. If you can buy a house right now, good for you. If you want to wait to buy the house, but you already know that you can buy a house right now. And if you cannot buy a house right now, they're going to tell you you cannot buy a house. So they're going to tell you what you have to do to buy a house. Buying a house is a good investment, because if you're paying rent, let's say for example you're paying $2,000 a month for 20 years in a rent. You cannot pay your rent in 15 days, you're going to get kicked out. And before you stop paying the rent, you already know you cannot pay the rent. You know you're going to get kicked out. But if you have a house, you've been in your house 20 years and you know you're not going to be able to pay the rent for the next 3-4 months, you schedule a plan with a bank. You put your house for sale, and then you have a chance to sell the house and get whatever money you invested in that house and put in your pocket. There's a lot of options whenever you own a house. If you are renting, they're going to kick out of your place within 15 days. In a house, if you cannot pay your house, they're not gonna kick you out in 15 days. The process takes 6 months, but we're not trying to get into that. We're trying to get into the I can find ways to pay my rent in my house or my mortgage and keep my house. Or, you know what? Fuck it, my house is worth $400,000 and I only owe $100,000, so I'm going to get $300,000. I'm going to sell it and take this $300,000 and I'm going to move to another country. With this money, I can live. If you have questions, put it in the comments. You might like my videos, you might not. Yeah, it's not that I do a bunch of fancy stuff, but I try to talk to you with the reality. That's what I do. Reality. You have questions, put them in the comments. I've been in real estate since I was born, but in USA since 2006. I did not even speak English when I came to USA. Now I have a beautiful family that thank God, supports me. And I'm doing all these things to help people go through the real estate process. It's not easy. Real estate is the most difficult thing I have ever seen. You're going to excuse my English. It's not very good looking